What's up, guys? I'm Lee Morris. This is
Patrick Hall.
We're with Fstoppers.com. This is Critique the Community Family Portrait Edition. And we have 20 pictures here. We're going to be rating them 1 through 5. We'll tell you about the ratings as we go, but let's just start it off. You ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. 2 stars. 2 means it needs work before it hits your portfolio. This looks very similar to a shot or shots that I took when I was in college. And obviously, this is a photographer who's learning about lighting. They have some strobe set up, but they haven't really mastered the aesthetics of the scene.
It's like they know the image that they're going for, you know, but they just haven't really pulled it off.
Yeah, like
it's is it P.T. Anderson?
I don't know.
Is that the director?
I don't know.
I don't want to name him if I'm wrong.
But the whole thing is like the subjects are really weird. They don't fit in the scene. The table doesn't fit in the scene. The poses don't really fit with one another. The lighting from the left side seems a little harsh, and the guy on the right has like this weird side light. You know, it's kind of like this weird cross lighting type thing. I just don't think this works for a lot of reasons, and I don't think you're going to book any work for this.
And it's starting to kind of go into the editorial look instead of like what I would think is a family portrait. That's not to say that you couldn't do something like this, but I just don't think the average client coming to your town wanting a family portrait for vacation is going to see this and say, that's what we've been looking for.
I'm ready to give that guy some money.
Yeah.
Next up.
Tilt it up a little.
You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. 2 stars. Another needs work. I'm going to guess what's happening here, and I could guess before I noticed the remote in the kid's hand, but I was going to say, I bet the father is into photography, and he's trying to capture the shot. It doesn't look like a photographer took this shot. It looks like it was set up on a tripod. At first, I thought this is a timed thing, and then I noticed the kid has a remote control. So I'm just guessing that the photographer who took this is the guy on the left. And
what made you guess that it was a tripod image based on the composition?
Yeah, based on the composition, it just feels a little awkward to me. And I understand why. You're trying to capture the sunset and the foreground at the same time, but it's just very odd having all of their heads below center line.
So it's more of a composition problem for you.
Yeah, but the posing too, it feels like okay, countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, everybody get in the shot, instead of like
a photographer directing them
exactly.
and getting them to laugh and look more like everyone's kind of got this look of anticipation.
Exactly. When's it gonna go off? And so for those reasons, I don't think this should be in your portfolio to sell family portraits.
I was just telling my girlfriend last night that I absolutely get stressed out taking my own family portraits where I have to put the camera on the tripod and do it for my family because I hate not being the guy behind directing. And one thing I've found that is successful is to do something like this with the remote, but then you have to interact with your family and just take a ton of pictures. But you have to get everybody to just like fake laugh and talk to each other and like get to where that moment of anticipation is kind of gone.
Right.
It's definitely challenging. I actually think this is a good attempt for that.
It certainly is. It's a great shot for your family, and I'm sure you will always love and cherish this shot. But I'm just thinking from like a business standpoint, is this going to make you money? I would say no.
It won't compete with the other family portraits in your market.
Right. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
You gave it a 3.
I gave it a 3. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't give it a 3.
I like the aesthetic. The time of day, the background it looks a little rough.
But
the color is still a little green.
I want to stop you there and just say that yes, it is like harsh light coming from the back, but they position their subject correctly.
Yeah.
Their subject isn't blown out at all. They look great.
Right. I just think it's starting to look a little cheaper. I don't know what it is. It's like it's shot at a lower aperture. It's just the highlights. Like I'm just used to knowing what the background looks like at the wrong time of day, and it drives me crazy. It looks like. I just feel like this is like the shot you might give them, but it's not the best absolute picture from the session that would go on your website. And for that, I give it a 2. In terms of where we're at in this critique, this is definitely the most professional looking image.
What bothers me a little bit, the crop's a little strange to me, the way that you're chopping off hands and wrists and stuff, and there's that space over the top of their head that has like the blown out weeds or corn or whatever that's in the back. I think that this shot would be better if you didn't tilt the camera down, but you just got lower to the ground. You could see the entire arm and hand of each of the subjects, and then you lost some of that background, which you don't really like anyway.
I usually like to shoot with people feeling like they're above my camera. I like to shoot down and aim up and shoot really telephoto. If I'm on the ground, just like you said, shoot lower to make people feel a little more epic or a little more, stoic. And this, you still have that vantage point of just looking down on people just a little bit. And with the crop, I kind of feel like that would definitely help it out.
Yeah. I love the expression on the mother's face, though. It's fantastic. Next up. This feels very similar to the other shot. Like, this feels to me like that guy is the photographer. And
people are going to be so mad if you're right, and then that becomes a discussion.
Well, or maybe I'm completely wrong, or if I'm right and it doesn't even matter. I don't know. But I think what's standing out to me with this one is like the way everybody's dressed. It doesn't feel like this is a professional.
It's like they had the camera with them already, and it was like, hey, this is cool. Let's try this.
Exactly. You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. 2 stars. Needs work for it. Hits your portfolio. I feel very similar to the other one. I think this is a great shot for your family. You probably love it. But if you are a professional family portrait photographer, I don't think this shot is going to wow anybody into dropping hundreds of thousands.
The lighting on them is kind of weak. This thing on the bottom left drives me crazy. The landscape in itself, like, what are they in? It's just like wheat. They're in a cool field, but I feel like this is just not a very strong landscape.
Yeah,
I would rather shoot more telephoto and really use the field as the design element, and then get some better light on them.
Yeah.
I feel like the dad's cheesing it up just a little bit. There's a lot of things that I think kind of push this down into the 2 category.
Next. I think we have another dad photographer again. It just feels that way to me. I could be completely wrong. I'm just making stuff up in my head, but it feels like... And what's interesting about this shot, too, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the lighting here, because either a lot of Photoshop was done to bring back each member of the family, or... I mean, when I look at the little girl on the left, she has like a harsh shadow under her chin, which makes it seem like there's flash. But then if you look at the dad...
Well, there's definitely natural light, I think, hitting the house, obviously. But then they all have a shadow to their right. I feel like it could be just a bare bulb flash really far away out
maybe
here.
So.
And it's just hitting everybody.
It's really good balance. Anyway, let's rate this.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. 2 stars, needs work. Again, I'm sure you guys love this shot. It shows a lot of the yard and the family and everything. It's just not this like loving, emotional, blow your mind family portrait.
I feel like if you're going to separate everybody out, they should all be doing something. It just kind of seems like the mom and dad are just there. Right. And then the 2 kids are actually engaged in something. But
which I didn't see. She has a hula hoop on.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. It feels like, I see what you're saying, like, mom, sit here, and then I'm going to run back in and sit down.
Yeah.
I feel like if a photographer was really controlling this image, there would be a lot more action going on. I've seen a lot of commercial photographers that do this kind of work, and it's just so thought out. Like, everything that each person in the image is doing is its own little storyline. And if you're going to go that route, I think that's the advantage of having a photographer directing people versus trying to make it happen on your own. I would have a heart attack trying to take this photo of myself.
Yeah.
with my own family.
All right, you ready?
Do you think this was taken by the...
I'm trying. It certainly could have been, but this is better for a lot of reasons. 3, 2, 1. 3 stars. This is your first 3 stars. 3 stars, by the way, guys, is a solid image for your portfolio. It's not amazing by any means, but like it should get you work if you try to use it professionally.
The reason I like this picture is I feel like the expression on everybody is really good. Like they look genuinely happy. It's shot much wider than I usually would shoot my type of images in a busy scene like this. But I actually think it kind of works. There's a lot of interest going on. It is kind of busy, but the light from behind looks great. There's enough light on them. It looks very natural. I'm a little torn with this branch here. I feel like there's...
On the right.
Yeah, it kind of divides the scene up, but...
Doesn't bother me too bad. I think there's been a lot of posts done on this image, but it's been done really well. When you have backlight like this, you would never have detail in the sky. You can still see blue in the sky.
Or they have an assistant maybe with a reflector or something that's throwing light back in. It's like this gold light that I wouldn't think would be open shade, and it wouldn't be in the woods.
Or it's just
dodging.
pulling back detail and raw. I don't know. Whoever took this, I'd be interested to know how it was lit or how you post-produced it. It looks really nice. But I can't give it a 4, which would be excellent, or a 5, which would be world-class, just because it's still relatively simple. Next up. Ready? 3, 2, 1. 2 stars, needs work. I kind of like the pose with this, and I kind of like the scene. I think my biggest issue is the post-processing. This grungy look kind of detracts from the
Yeah,
image
it'd be
to me.
interesting to see what you could do with some different posts. I would just love a little light on them. I feel like it's, they're so backlit and underexposed that it doesn't seem to be about them as much, Like the scene's kind of cool.
That's kind of why I see a lot of potential here. It's almost like the sky almost ruins it for me. I wonder if you could crop past the sky.
Oh, that's interesting. And just cut into the trees.
Yeah, so it's all, it's kind of eerie and scary looking with I don't know what type of trees these are on the right and left, but there's something about this that's very unique to me, but it's not like a completed image that I think is going to book you.
The daughter's expression is like the one that's just not quite there. Like the dad kind of pulls it off okay. The mom looks all right. Even the son. I just feel like you would take 10, 20 of these frames and hopefully, and it's hard with families, guys. I know you could take 10 or 20 frames and 3 of the 4 people look great, and then there's one person that never looks great. But there just needs to be that little bit more energy in it for me to be like, this is a solid picture from an expression standpoint.
Next up. So this appears to be like super hard flash. Outside, I would assume, with some sort of...
say it's super hard. I mean, it's kind of like a flash disc hardness.
No. Not hard as in
Bare bulb or something.
Small light source, but hard as in bright. But a relatively large light source because you can see the soft shadows. All right, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. 2 stars. I feel like there's a lot of potential here. It's just where you have your light on, especially the littlest girl's face, it's just a little bit too high for me. Or I think you need some sort of light or reflection from above, because where the light's positioned, it makes her look old and kind of wrinkly to me. And she's not. She's obviously like a beautiful, like 5-year-old or something. She doesn't have any wrinkles at all. But because the light is so high, it's just casting these shadows down under her eyes and everything. And I wouldn't suggest going in and like photoshopping wrinkles out on children's faces. I think that's ridiculous. But I just think you could lighten it up with your lighting by moving the light, or by just adding some sort of reflector below. Or in this case, probably what you could have done is lowered your flash power and then just raised your ambient light a little bit, and that would have been enough fill.
Yeah, I really don't like the ratios here. I think underexposing a background that much, I'm not a big fan of. I like to use the background to give some kind of element in there. Otherwise, they feel like they're in a cave. They feel like they're in this dark place, which is usually not where lively children would be.
Yeah.
One thing about the lighting, and I do this a lot when I used to shoot family pictures, is try to get the people on the same level. If you have a mom and she's standing with her little daughter, you're going to run into this problem every time. You're going to try to light for the mom, but then the daughter's got the shadows. What you can do is try to set them down to where, the kids are sitting next to each other, their eye levels, their nose, everything's about the same height. Or you light them like a beauty shot and you bring the light around more directional and low. And I know a lot of times people avoid that lighting, but if you have a large softbox as your light source, it'll still be really flattering light. It's going to fill in all the shadows. It's going to not look like your direct flash bare bulb light.
If it's a big enough source.
If it's big enough source. So for me, you're absolutely right. It's just the light's a little too high up for both of them.
But
especially the one on the
right.
the
one on the left, I think it looks great for her.
I don't like that she's kind of looking. It's like she's looking at mom behind the camera instead of looking at the photographer.
Yeah, I don't know if that bothers me too much. Like, there's a lot of potential here, but just don't think it's a portfolio shot. Ready when you are.
I'm going to be nice on this.
3, 2, 1. That's funny. This looks like a lot of shots that we've taken for the family pictures that we've done. We've definitely done the swinging shot. You can see how excited the baby is on the left. He's
the
like,
dad's
kill me
the
now.
dad's expression kind of kills. Like, what is he just bored, or is he looking at the?
Yeah, he's bored. He's like
kill
me now.
He's like,
too.
I've done this shot 5 times now.
I know.
I wish they had more light on them. I don't know if that's an exposure thing or it's really hard to light people doing this. The light's going to look really cheap or cheesy. You probably don't have a huge softbox, which would be ideal for this. So you have to shoot natural light, but it almost just seems like it's underexposed a little. But I think the mom and the kid, like, it's a cool shot. Maybe even just cropping it a little different might make it a little stronger.
I don't know. I just feel like I say this a lot during their critiques. It's a great image to deliver to the client. It's not a great image to put on your website. I take pictures like this to this day all the time, and I will happily deliver it to the client. They're going to be very thrilled with it. But I'm not going to put this shot on my website because the location's not very good. The light's a little blown out and flaring from the back. The baby's in a bad mood. The dad doesn't want to be there. There's just a lot of reasons there. The clothing that they're wearing doesn't look very fancy or high-end or loving or family portrait-y. So for all those reasons, I just don't think it should be in your portfolio, but it's still a fine shot.
Yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars. This one has so much potential for me. I feel like the lighting on them is fantastic. The location, fantastic. The bokeh with the trees in the background, fantastic. The only thing that's bringing this down for me is just the subject matter. Like the smile on the dad's face and then the smile or the lack of smile on the mom's face just kind of pulls me out of the shot a little bit. I think it's a fantastic shot. This photographer knows what they're doing. But in a lot of cases, when you're taking pictures like this, you don't get to control, if your clients are models or not, But if this shot had like beautiful, perfect-looking people or children, and they were styled perfectly with the right hair and clothing and everything, I mean, this could be easily a 4 or 5
I
star
think they're
image.
styled pretty good.
They are styled
they
pretty
look
good.
pretty well
They
dressed.
do.
They prepared.
They do.
This would be a fun family shoot to shoot. If everyone was in a good mood and they look like that. I don't see that anyone's frustrated except maybe the mom.
No, I don't. I didn't mean to come off like that. I'm just saying that it's not the perfect. Rarely do the kids look the best, and in this picture, I think they look the best.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to put this image down. I'm just trying to justify why I didn't give this a 4 or 5 star rating when there's so much.
So
great.
it's not like a picture that will stay in your portfolio forever.
Yeah.
But this is like you did a great job for that client.
And I would revisit this scene over and over and over again for my clients because I just feel like this location is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Next. Kind of on the fence here. I'm going to be a little rough. Ready? 3, 2, 1. 2 stars. I see what you're doing here.
You're trying to make it not look like a cheesy family portrait. You're trying to make it look a little more.
It's not. I certainly don't get the vibe that this is cheesy.
No, I'm saying a lot of family portraits have that vibe.
Right. It's just, I'm just trying to gauge this fairly as like, should this be in your portfolio to make money? And it's so close, so close. One thing that I would fix right away is it's not the vertical lines aren't vertical. It's tilted in a little bit. So you need to pull that side out or either rotate the frame. That's one thing. I might make this black and white. And if this were black and white, I might like it a lot more. But something about it with the hard light and the fact that it's missing the father's face and everything, it just feels a little cheap to me, and that's why I gave it a 2 rather than a 3.
How do you feel about, like, this is obviously going in a very different direction. Like, if you were hired to shoot this, you're now in their home.
Yeah.
Which we've shot family portraits in homes.
Yeah.
But you're now doing something that's a completely different, I don't want to say genre, but like, this feels more photojournalistic.
I know.
This feels,
that's why I like it.
How do you feel about marketing towards that?
Oh, I think you can certainly do it. I was just recently at my girlfriend's brother's house, and he had pictures like this taken in his house, and they were black and white, and they were beautiful. And it was just like these casual shots when they brought their newborn baby home. The photographer friend took them, and they have them hanging up around the home, and I was just loving them because they weren't the stereotypical hold the baby up cheese picture.
Yeah.
And so
they have this candid feel to them.
Yeah. And I see that in this picture, and maybe it could be fixed with just post-processing, but there's just a few things about it that say like, it needs a little work before you put it on your website.
Yeah, I would love to see the dad's face a little more.
Yeah.
And maybe if you add another light, maybe now it starts to look overlit.
Yeah, I think it would.
But there could be a way to light it in a way that, even if it was like a lamp or something that made it feel like more like you're in a warm room. The image just reads so cold. I almost kind of say it seems like it could be a sad photo, except that I can see a smile on the mom's face. If you warmed up the room and made it just feel a little bit more like you're hanging out in your living room, just slightly. I'm not saying like all the shadows are opened up, but just something that gives it, maybe even just like a little nightlight or something in the back corner that just like brought it to life a little bit more.
Yeah. All right, next up. This is interesting.
I mean, it makes me smile. Like it's one of those, it feels good.
I'm probably gonna blow your mind on this one.
Oh, yeah?
3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna go 4, huh?
4 stars. Yeah, this is so different than anything I've thought to do myself. And the little boys look fantastic. The location's amazing. Probably the one thing that bothers me is the fact that the husband and wife, like he's like holding his arm up a little bit. That feels a little awkward to me. And then the fact that she's smiling. I almost wish that she just wasn't even smiling and this was a totally serious picture.
No, I feel like I wish his expression was more. I feel like I wish he was looking at her, or this seems like a proud moment. Like, look at our kids, like. Otherwise, it'd be this super somber mood, I think.
That's why I like it. It's so different than any other family picture that I've seen.
If she wasn't smiling, it's like we've sent the kids off.
Off to die. Off to war.
I wish the dad was looking at the mom and she was still looking at the camera, or they were closer, or I feel like he could benefit from some kind of warmth too, because the two kids have this cool feel. to them. You know, it doesn't
They
look
do.
like they were forced to do it and they're doing it.
I know.
It's like they're actually happy to
I
they're
agree.
best friends. You know.
Yeah. I guess my problem is that her vibe doesn't fit the kids, and it certainly doesn't fit the vibe with the husband. So that's my issue. But like the way the sand is, and then the water, and then that faint mountain in the background, it's just crazy looking. I love it, and the way it's cropped so awkwardly, it works.
Like Iceland or something.
I know, it does. Anything else you want to say?
No, solid
up.
picture.
Who does the husband look like? He looks like a actor to me. I was on the fence in between a 2 and a 3 here. I think it's kind of a cool location. I like the lighting. For the most part, I like most of the kids' expression.
I like some of these kids. Some of the other ones.
Well, it's like, the second kid from the left, and he's like got his eyes closed or something. So that's why I gave it a 2. But
we haven't seen a lot of what I would call like more of a modern take on family
this is
portraits.
certainly that.
And I feel like this is, if these were all actors and actresses and stuff, like this would be a sitcom picture, like this would be used for Modern Family. And I love that about it.
I do too.
I think it's a solid 3. Like I really like it. If this is the direction this photographer goes, I think it's definitely going to book them work.
I just think that I know it's so hard to work with kids, but like at least the kids on the left are old enough to do what you tell them. I think they could have looked so cool if they were like leaning back against that wall. But instead, like the one on the left has the arms crossed, which is kind of awkward, and he's making a weird face. And then the kid with the hands in the pockets, that's cool, but he's blinking. So it's just like, it's so close. And I feel like this photographer probably took multiple images.
Yeah.
And I bet
Another
he has
frame is...
a better shot of the kids on the left. But
I like
very
it
cool.
though. It's a cool shot.
Wow. All right, ready?
All right.
3, 2, 1.
This is my first 4.
4. Yeah, I considered giving this a 5. This is so unique. It kind of makes me mad when I see images like this, and I'm like, man, not only have I never taken anything like this, I don't think I could like if I showed this to you and you were like, that looks awesome, and then I took it away and said, now recreate that pose. Like, I'm trying to figure out where the photographer was, and like, is he standing on something? Are they sitting down?
He's definitely shooting down. Yeah, I don't know if they're sitting, but he's definitely shooting down. You can tell from their hair and everything that it's not some weird
but it's
trickery.
It's just usually when you shoot down on people like this, you don't get flattering images. But the mom looks great.
You
just
can tell
with
the dad's
eyelashes.
an attractive guy.
Yeah,
like the
it's so good.
facial features and everything work from that angle. And then just to get the kid with that, I mean, it's the expression of wonderment, how in the world did he get lucky to get that kind of emotion out of the kid?
This just can show you guys, like when you look at some of the other pictures that we've gone through that are much closer to the snapshot type picture, and then when you see this, and you see like how much thought went into creating something that's this weird and unique and different, you can just really appreciate the amount of talent that goes into a picture like this.
I don't even know. Do you direct this?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you just get lucky and say, nobody move, everyone look at the sun? Like, it reminds me of like a Leibowitz image or something. Like, it's got this emotion where you're like, man, I wish all my pictures could look like that.
I know. Well done, whoever took that.
Man.
3, 2, 1. Oh, man.
This is exactly, 2.5 is exactly where I kind of wanted this.
This one's so hard for me because I feel like, oh my gosh, this has so much potential. And you get a better expression on both subjects' faces in this picture, and it's like a 5-star image all of a sudden. But it's just like the smushed, bored baby's face, and the glasses kind of pull me out of it. I'm certainly not against taking pictures of people with glasses on, but it just kind of, it pulls me out of this shot. And normally I also...
Is it just because the left lens?
Yeah, maybe. Or yeah, like the right side. And normally I would never take pictures of people with flowers surrounding them. I think that's super cheesy, but nothing about this feels cheesy to me. It like the light and the post-processing, it looks so good. It's 100% about the expression, what's happening in the picture between the mother and the son. And it's just not that good. It's nothing the photographer did wrong. It just so happened to be that moment.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I wish I could pinpoint it really specifically. Maybe it is just the emotion. I just feel like it's more about the idea that, like, I shot through the flowers.
Oh, so that is what it looks like to you. Because I've definitely taken pictures in the flowers, and it's super cheesy. This doesn't feel like that to me. This feels like, I don't know what it is, but the lighting is so good on
The
this.
lighting is great. Yeah, the lighting is really good. I just think it's like the way the people fit into it. I wouldn't say the flowers feel cheesy and I would be like, don't shoot into the flowers. I don't feel that way looking at this. I just feel like all I'm left with is the flowers. Yeah. Like nothing in the middle of the frame with the mom and her son are really making me wonder more about them.
Right. So this is a shot that I would assume that the dad is not a photographer and didn't set up a camera on a tripod, because this would be
logistically
much more
very difficult to get under the wife and sit down.
Yeah, with the little tilt and everything. All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Really, just 2?
I could go 2.5. I love everything. Like the styling looks great, the location looks great. I think that the out of focus is just too much of the frame.
That doesn't bother me.
I mean, I like the angle. Like, it definitely has this design element to it.
Yeah, this is the modern type of picture.
Yeah, I just feel like it, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the lights on the, I don't know. It just seems like they're so small that I would have probably gone something like that, where you crop in just a little more.
I completely agree. That's what I was going to suggest. So what Patrick did, he just zoomed into the picture, cut off the roof, still has a little bit of the blurry wall on the right, but it's much more about the couple and the baby. I think this is a much better image.
Because what this does, by shooting through the hallway or the bookshelf, whatever that is, it gives this kind of candid feel to it, and it's really cool. I think this is a really good technique that a lot of photographers use, but I just feel like it's kind of the difference of just shooting an 85 versus a 50 or something. Like, it's not that much, and you could just crop it and post, but having the ceiling in there, I don't think it adds anything to it. It actually makes the space look more empty. I mean, if you do like that, you kind of feel like it's just a more lively.
Yeah, when you crop
place.
in like that, it feels like an ad for West Elm or something. Yeah, it looks great.
We just had a West Elm open in Charleston. I'm sure that's why we.
Yeah. You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
3 again, huh?
Shocked you gave that a 2.
This is one of those shots that, like, I tell everyone, okay, let's loosen up, goof off with the person next to you, whatever. And I feel like this is a shot I would deliver. I just feel like I'm lost with the people. Like, I can't see anyone's face. The lighting isn't hitting anybody. It's so contrasty. Again, I think there could be a solid image here that was taken before or after this. But to me, this is just one of those fun images that I would shoot in between to give to the family. But I don't know that I would put this on my website to try to book more work. I think a lot of clients would look at this and be like, I can't see any of the brothers' faces. I'm lost with the mom and her hair. And
I might disagree with you.
Do you think the emotion over trumps the ability to see people?
I do. And I feel like everybody's laughing faces here is so genuine that this feels like family love to me, whereas if you just told everybody stand up and smile, it's gonna look
you'd be like,
and
why are you
posed.
laying on the ground like this?
So I understand what you're saying, that like maybe this doesn't need to be in your portfolio, but I just feel like everybody's so genuinely happy that I really like it. And I don't feel like it's over contrasty at all. I think it's great. It doesn't bother me that I can't see the front of people's faces, because that's what people do when they're really excited and laughing and stuff. So, agree to disagree. 3, 2, 1. 2 stars. I've taken about 1 billion pictures that are just like this. And yeah, I give it to the client every time, and I'm sure they love it. But the expression on the mother and the father's face ruins the shot. The background isn't particularly good, the way that, you can kind of see the house and some shed on the right.
Some shed?
Well, I don't know what that is. There's something over there.
I know you said something else.
Oh. So
To me, this shot would really be stronger with either a longer focal length or a shallower depth of field.
Yeah.
Blur some of that in the background. I don't know the angle's really that bad. Time of day, it's still a little early. I mean, you see how small their shadows are, which means the sun is higher up, which is going to give you a stronger contrast. To control the background on their shoulders, you're going to have to underexpose them. So shooting later in the day would help. And then you're on a beach, so a lot of times I like to shoot down the length of the beach, and maybe the lighting wouldn't allow that.
It wouldn't have worked.
But to me, it's just kind of underexposed. There's too much depth of field. And then if you could get the girl doing that, but then express that the parents need to look at each other or look at the camera or do something more than looking down, you get the advantage of the kid having a good time while the parents have this lively feel too.
Next up. I'll be nice. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. 3 stars. Here's my issue with it and why I probably should have given it a 2. I just don't really like the crop. I don't like the fact that it's so close to cropping off his feet at the bottom. I don't like the fact that there's cars on the right and left. What I do love is what's happening in the picture is so awesome. And what Patrick's doing right now is he's zooming into the image, exactly what I was going to say to do. I probably would have shot this thing at 200 millimeters, cropped the guy potentially at his elbow, and cut out a little bit of the belly there, and just had it be all about the mom and the baby and the dad bending over. I think it's such an incredible moment, but it's just kind of wrecked for me with the cars in the shot.
I think the reason the crop isn't as strong, is probably the way I would say it, is because there's just so much emotion going on with the 4 of them that if you pull out, you kind of lose some of that. And then it becomes about their fashion, their clothes, their shoes, more than it is just about them.
Yeah.
I like the post-processing. I like the
too.
mood. I feel like this has this kind of European feel that they're on vacation. Maybe they just live there. I could see a whole portfolio like this and feel like, man, this is a cool photographer that approaches family portraits in a very different way. I want to hire this guy.
Yeah, I agree. This is the final shot.
I'm on the fence, but yeah.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars, solid image. I'm trying to figure out how this image came about. Do you think the photographer is the father?
Probably. In most cases, I would love to make a mess in other people's homes and then be able to leave as the photographer. I don't think that happens a lot, and if it did, they would probably look at me like, you want me to do what? Because there's a lot of testing that goes into this to get all the Cheerios to be suspended. There's a lot of takes that you have to do.
I know.
To get this image. Maybe his wife's the photographer. Do you think he's banning? How do you even take this if you're the dad and this is your idea?
The mom's not home.
I know, but he doesn't have a trigger in his hand, or is it a self-timer, or?
Wait, what do you? Wait, you think I thought this was a kid on the bottom. You think this is the father, in the frame?
Yeah, I don't think that's. You think that's the older brother?
I thought it was a 9-year-old kid on the bottom, and then a 5-year-old.
I think the guy on the bottom's 25 to 35.
No way. I don't know. Now I'm totally confused. He's either 11 years old or he's 35 years old. I don't know.
Maybe you're right. I don't.
I just imagine that he's the older brother. The father's taking the picture back behind the camera right now.
Maybe you're right. I don't know how old he is, but
it's creepy. Because now you got me second guessing myself.
I guess what I see, people send these pictures to us all the time on Fstoppers. We feature Dad does crazy photo shoot with his kids. I tend to just naturally go in that direction and think like this is the dad and the kid is throwing Cheerios in his mouth. But maybe it's the son. Maybe you're right. Like he does look a little younger now that I zoom in.
Yeah. I think it's an okay image. Obviously, I love the thought behind it. I love that you came up with an idea and you went for it and you made it happen. But I just feel like if this were going to be a commercial image that like Cheerios would use, I think there's a little bit more finessing that needs to be done. Like the kitchen needs to be a little better. It needs to be cleaned up a little bit more. The clothes that are being worn, like why does the kid on the bottom have like this bib on? It just, it's not a flawless commercial image, and it's also not a flawless like family portrait either. It's just kind of like this, hey, I'm bored, kids, do you want to try this shot out type picture, which is fine. It's done well.
Yeah, it's interesting to read this as a photographer because we see this a lot and we know how to light this sort of thing. We know what goes into the thought concept. Like these are test shoots for us, you know, like we do this all the time. I mean, I've never shot kids like this, but this is the sort of stuff that we do. But at the same time, I do see series like this go viral on the internet. And so I would be interested to know, what does the average family view this? Do they see this on your website and think, that's a great photographer that we need to hire because he's got great ideas and blah, blah, blah? Or do they just say, oh, no, I would never let my kids do that?
Yeah.
And then there's this other, I mean, I guess that you're still putting blame on the family. So maybe they would say, like, we love the photographer, but, like, we're definitely not going to do that. And it becomes this, like, inside joke.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this sells. I guess that's the question. Does this belong on your portfolio? If you did only this, it would obviously make sense. But if you throw this in the middle of everything else we've shown, would people be like, well, that's a little strange?
I think that's another debate, though. Like, I'm trying to judge this just on the merits of photography.
Well, the portfolio is part of what our rating system is.
Yes, that's true.
And we've thrown it into a genre.
But what you're trying to do now is you're trying to make an argument of like, what type of family portraits are you going after, and then trying to gear your portfolio towards a very specific type of clientele, which is fine. I like, we all have to do that. But I still think this image is done pretty well.
Yeah, it's a 3. I mean, it's a good, solid image.
But you make a good point that even though this is a solid image, you personally, if you're going to be a family portrait photographer, you may not want this in your portfolio because it may throw people off and just go like, I don't want cherries all over my kitchen. I'm not going to get involved with that.
Right.
So that makes sense. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like for us to critique your pictures, you can go to fstoppers.com, sign up for the community, upload pictures to your portfolio, and then about every week, we'll do a post on Fstoppers that says, hey, submit your car photography. That was last week. People gave us a hard time about that. We're not car photographers or car connoisseurs.
As a man, I feel a little bad that I know nothing about cars. Cars are one of those things that I don't care about at all.
Yeah.
But
I do. I kind of like cars, but I still
if it was
don't.
guitar photography, I'd be like, yeah, how do you not know what that is? But cars, definitely not my thing. Should we name a new genre right here and now?
Yeah. So let's do natural light portraits.
Natural light portraits.
Natural light portraits. We'll do that next. And I don't think we've done anything like that. I don't think we've done anything natural light yet. So if you have any amazing naturally lit portraits, feel free to upload those. We're going to do a post soon. It might be this week, maybe next week, where it'll say upload your pictures or submit your pictures. And then the week after that, we'll have a video with us critiquing it. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.